Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Miss Girlfriend Therapist.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I am amazing. So happy to be here.
That's good. Aren't we all? In these times we in today, we ought to feel real thankful.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
We have no choice at this moment. Seriously. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you again. I am Cortina Peters, aka the Girlfriend Therapist, international life coach, licensed mental health counselor, motivational strategist, professional mentor, and published author. And so my purpose in life is to empower people to win emotionally, physically, spiritually, and most of all, emotionally and mentally. So
Wow. So what motivated you to become a mental health counselor?
I've always had a heart, mind you, not to be confused with what I do now, but I always knew I wanted to see the best in people. So I think that's really what navigated me to going into this direction.
Wow.
So I got a bachelor's degree in psychology and quickly realized I'm going to make $0 in this field. So I need to go a little bit more with my education.
Wow.
So I went and got a master's degree and then did my internship and then worked under somebody else's license and then became licensed as a licensed mental health counselor.
Oh, that's amazing. So tell me a little bit about your experience working in the field.
Well, I've been in the field professionally since 2009, providing professional therapy and counseling services. I've seen a lot of things. I spent many years in substance abuse. So that's one of my specialty areas. I have worked my way from the bottom all the way to the top. I started out as a group facilitator and advanced. And then when I left corporate America, I was a clinical director over maybe the past 10 years. I spent my life being a clinical director over facilities.
Wow. So during this whole pandemic crisis, we already know a lot of people is going through a lot of mental health issues. The fact that we losing families more than ever and within this little bit of time, what advice do you have individuals that are going through that and even just being inside of their home at most of the times and financially struggling?
One of the things that I would say is really figure out how you feel about it. Because a lot of times we talk to other people and they may persuade or sway our own perceptions about how we feel about this pandemic. But I would say take some time to figure out, where are you with it? What are you comfortable with and what aren't you comfortable with, and why aren't you comfortable with it, to really sort out your feelings. Because yes, there's a lot of people that have lost jobs. There's a lot of people, their life has changed, especially with teenagers and kids that are in school. They've lost the social capacity to really interact with others. And so also giving children the ability to be upset, to be mad, and allow yourself to be upset and be mad, but also know that you don't have to stay stuck there. Asking for help. A lot of times people are embarrassed when they need help because maybe they don't have their job anymore.
Right.
Getting rid of that pride and that ego and really coming together so that you can build your tribe. That's one of the things that I would say to people.
Yes, definitely. How would you basically how can somebody discover that they have PTSD? Because right now a lot of people is under stress. And some people may even be in denial of the fact that they are having those signs and symptoms right now at this very moment. What information could you give them for them to even notice that they have it, or they should seek someone to speak to heal themselves to be able to get through it?
Well, I think anybody, even if you don't have a diagnosis, I think therapy is beneficial for everybody. You know,
Okay.
a lot of times people use, oh, you need a therapist as kind of like an insult. I don't think it should be used as an insult. I think everybody could benefit from therapy. But to go back to your question about the PTSD, one, you have to realize, especially in our culture, that we're so used to feeling like we have to take it. We have to be strong. Like it's not okay. It's a sign of weakness if you're asking for help or going to therapy. We have to really begin to change that mindset and make it socially acceptable and okay for people to get the help they need. We have to be able to tear down the stigma of what it means to go to therapy. So I think some people may feel embarrassed and they really don't want to face the fact that things are really bothering them
Right.
because they fear that people will judge them. So I would say if you're feeling like you need to talk to somebody, go ahead and make the call and talk to somebody, because you don't want to be in a situation where your experience becomes more worse because you didn't get the help initially and you just let this trauma sit and fester and grow and continue to make your life complicated, where maybe it wouldn't have been as complicated had you begin to share that and talk to somebody and process and get through that instead of carrying all of that.
That is so true because it's a lot of people that deal with things that they have carried on from childhood onto their adulthood. Some people hit their 60s and 70s and they still feel it. And just
Absolutely.
yeah, it's just they just dealt with it and carried it for so long, but at the same time it's breaking them down in so many ways. And
Yes.
it's not healthy at all.
It really isn't. And we don't realize how carrying all of that stress comes out in physical ways. You're wondering why you're tired all the time. You're wondering why you're exhausted. You're wondering why your weight is fluctuating. You're wondering why you have maybe ulcers, or you stress eat, or you're having all of these symptoms with no organic cause. Like there's nothing, that the tests come back negative and everything. And then you're like, what is happening to me? I just know I feel weird. I feel odd. I don't feel
Right.
right. Check what's happening in your life, and or what you're holding on to from the past.
Yes, definitely. What are some exercises that people can practice while they at home where they can reinforce their personal life?
So I love mindfulness and
Okay.
grounding. So grounding techniques is where you are able to be in the here and now. So when you think about mindfulness, we're going from a mind full of mess
Yes.
to you being able to be mindful, if
That's so
that makes
true.
sense.
No, that makes a lot of
Okay.
sense.
So yeah, we don't want our mind full. We want to be able to be mindful and be in the here and now. So one of the things that I like is the 5 4 3 2 1 technique, where you just sit very still. And what you do is you think of 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can feel, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Because if you're focused on the 5 senses, you can't worry about the other stuff that's happening around you.
That's so true.
Something else that I like to do is called healing touch. So basically, what you do, you envision in your mind, and I'm going to do it very briefly with you guys. So you rub your palms together like this. And as you feel the warmth and the heat coming from your hands, you are creating healing. So, what you're doing is you're visualizing that you are creating healing, and then you just touch your heart. You touch the part of you that needs to be healed. And so that's healing touch. And you really see the healing that you created within the palms of your hands is healing the parts of you. So I like to always start with the heart, because there's so many matters of the heart. There's
Yeah.
so many of our issues that are actually heart issues. And how do we get to the root so that we can really process and work through that pain, that hurt, that resentment, that bitterness, that grief, that hatred, all that stuff that's in the heart.
Yes, that is so true. And I know you saying like you like to focus on the heart. I'm real big on focusing on the brain also. A
Hmm.
lot of people don't know the areas of their brain.
Oh yeah.
And that causes a lot of problems because I mean our left side of the brain, that's where a lot of our cognitive and motor
Hmm.
skills and everything get involved. And then once we on the right side, that's more of like mental health and
Hmm.
where all our problems and behavior issues come from. And a lot of people should discover and look up things like that because it helps you balance out your life. It helps you create so many things to make yourself feel better. But
Hmm.
yeah, a lot of people like to carry things too for the attention.
So when we get there, I always like to go through when I'm working with patients and see are there any secondary gains, right? Because if you look at someone and they're always posting like, is every day of your life horrible and like a
Yeah,
tragedy? And so it's almost like, okay, we call it playing the victim, but the secondary gain for them is the attention that they get from being how they are, or putting it out there. It's almost like a person who doesn't want to get well, right? If I get well, that means I will be now responsible for me moving forward in my life. As long as I stay sick, guess what? Everybody else taking care of me. So the secondary gain would be not having to be responsible for where they are in their life. But if you get well, now you got to be responsible. So that's why some people stay sick. That's why some people don't get help. That's why some people, they are resistant to moving forward into different treatments. And I'm talking about this is with anything, not just mental
yeah,
health.
yes. That's a broad conversation.
Yes.
That's a whole broad. And you know, a lot of people don't understand that mental health comes in of healing when you held yourself accountable for different things that you've done. And that first accountability is apologizing. And when you
Yes.
apologize or forgive to move forward, you could be able to, reduce a lot of trauma in your life. And a lot of people don't even realize that because of their, like you said, they pride, their ego.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's really funny when because in my own personal life, the stuff that I tell my patients, I practice it at all. Like sometimes when I'm just like feel like I'm being a baby, I'm like, okay, come on, Cortina, let's get it together. What
Mhm.
would you tell your patient? Okay, I'm being a little extra. So, okay, let me just, yes, it's a messed up situation, but guess what? I'm going to get through it. So, being able to positive self talk yourself as well when you are in unfortunate situations, not ignore it, but
Right.
be able to talk yourself through it so that you can better handle it.
Yes, that is so true. So when you have a patient that presents severe anxiety, because a lot of
Mhm.
people suffer anxiety a lot, what course of action do you follow to help them?
So, it really depends, right? So, first, I make sure that they've gone to the doctor, like especially if they're having like severe physiological responses. I
Hmm.
would make sure that they're cleared medically to make sure it's not anything that can be medical affecting them or causing them to respond or react the way that they're reacting. I'm not a doctor, so I can't diagnose you with anything. You got to go get that medically clear.
Right.
However, I start off with grounding, mindfulness, cognitive behavioral therapy. Those are the therapies that I use first. If they are actually implementing those and they are still not working, I also say, you know what, until you're able to better get a hold of this, I'm not a big proponent of medication, but for some people, in order for them to even function, because their brain is so hyperactive and so on alert and they're always in fight or flight mode, in
Yeah.
order to help better regulate them, we have to get them something.
That's
Maybe some Zoloft or some Balto or some anything, hydroxyzine, any of those things that's going to help them be able to get a baseline. Then from that, maybe they would be better able to use the tools that I give them. Then the more they're able to use the tools, guess what? The stronger it's going to be reinforced. So eventually they may even actually be able to get off of the medication.
Yes, that is very What is your intake on using, well, a lot of people getting medication, because some people deny medication, some people say it makes them feel worse, some of them say it makes them feel sick. People have different views on
Mm-hmm.
medication. Do you feel as though, how do you feel about the medication?
So me, like I said, I'm not really big on medications, but I have seen them work, right?
Okay.
So if you take it the way it's supposed to be taken, it will work. That does not necessarily mean what the doctor put you on is for you. That doesn't mean the dosage is correct. You got to make sure there are no it's not contraindicated for any other medications or any
Okay.
other drug interactions that you might be taking. You have to make sure you are actually being open and honest about all of the symptoms that you are experiencing so that the doctor can figure out what's the best course of action for you. I do not believe in your primary care physician giving you psycho pharmacokinetics. I just don't believe in that. I think you need to go to a psychiatrist, someone who has specialized in that, not someone who's just going to give you the generic prescription and be like, yeah, just take some, Zoloft and you'll be okay. No, we really need to do a deeper background to figure out what are some of the stressors in this patient's life. We need to do an in-depth assessment so that we can see really what course of action is best for this patient. Not when you walk into your primary care doctor and you be like, yeah, I feel sad. Oh, here go a prescription.
Right.
No.
Right, because you'll be walking around like a zombie before you
Yes.
know it, and a lot of people, it drains them. They will sleep all day if they
Yes. Yes.
could. It's darn near like Nyquil or something. Night
Right.
powder.
We still need our patients to be able to function.
Right, right. Um. So speaking of the fact that you have become a therapist, what motivated you to become a mental health specialist? Was it from your upbringing on the things that you saw, or was it just something that you had a passion in?
I think my passion was always there.
Okay.
I've always been in the field of helps and serving and helping people. That makes my heart smile.
Okay.
So I like to see people progress. It's so funny. My mom would always tell me, she was like, growing up, you've always been a giver. Your heart has always been so big. You would give all your toys away and be like, it's okay. My mom has a lot of money. We
Right.
didn't. But in my mind, I
Right.
thought we did, me being an only child. And so she was like, you would just give stuff away and always want to help people. And I remember like always wanting to help. And that was the biggest thing for me. Me being a therapist now, I am helping people on their journey to emotional wellness.
Yeah. Emotional
That's
well.
huge.
Yeah, that is. That is huge. How do you make sure that you are mentally and emotional stable when you do communicate with your patients? Because sometimes we'll take on the spirits that's in them, and it'll try to erupt our personal lives also.
Oh yeah. I don't maybe early in my career, but now I've been in it so long, I totally disconnect. I don't carry or take anything home with me. Even before I became a therapist, I was a family consultant. I
Okay.
remember wanting to take all the kids home. I remember wanting to, just help the family and be like, oh my God, I wish I had so much money. I would just help them.
Right.
That's not me no more. Like, I can really go do a therapist, hear the story. Yeah, it's going to affect me because I'm human, but I'm not up at night tossing and turning because I'm worried about my patient. So I think it's about learning boundaries. I think it's about having balance and knowing that my job is not to rescue them. My job is to help facilitate the journey for them so that they can see a clearer path.
Yes. Now you said a word that I really really love, and that's boundaries. Could you share with people when you dealing with mental health and you have people in your life that do not respect your boundaries, or if we are walking around and we don't have boundaries, a lot of people will take over all of our
Mm-hmm.
emotional impact on a daily basis. Can you tell our listeners how important it is for them to have boundaries in their life?
Absolutely. Boundaries are so important. Boundaries are the guidelines that help us deal with people, and it also teaches people how to treat us. If you are not firm on your boundaries, why do you expect somebody else to be?
That's the
So boundaries help keep people, in check, so to speak. You
yeah.
don't have to walk around saying, "This is my boundary." No. However, being consistent about, you know what? If you turn your phone off at 5 o'clock, turn your phone off at 5 o'clock, and not
Mhm.
allow anybody to make you feel guilty about, oh, she just thinks she all that. One of the biggest things that I like to share is, just because, let's just say you have a day off, right? This your day to rest, you free, you don't have nothing to do, nothing on your schedule. Your friends or family may say, oh, she off, she can do it. Just because I'm free, that is not a reflection of my availability to
Yeah.
you.
That is
My
so
free
true.
time is for me to regroup, re-energize, refresh, recoup. That is for me. If I choose to help you, then guess what?
Yes.
It's
Because
my
somebody will,
choice.
they'll literally plan your whole day just because
Yes.
you
And
off.
so once you start teaching them how to treat you, guess what? They'll fall in line. They might not like it in the beginning. And this is the difference when you figure out who really supports you and who loves you. Because if your friends are bothered by the boundaries you've implemented, you have to question, this is for me. It has nothing to do with you, but you're mad and hating on me because I'm implementing boundaries in my life for my emotional wellness, for
Mm.
my path. That's questionable.
Yeah, it is questionable because when you do start making change of things that you have never done, people do get upset about it. They be like, "Why you acting funny?" Or
Mm-hmm.
you just doing this because you're mad, or it's a lot of backlash behind it. But it makes us feel, with us being so caring, loving, giving, and everything. And sometimes it transition your mind to feel down and out and feel bad and
Right.
hopeless for them and everything. And we have to continue on with those boundaries so that we can be firm with it. So I
Mm-hmm.
know exactly what you're saying with that. Because you'll walk around and be a whole mess if you
Yes,
try to please people every single day.
that's the biggest thing, people pleasing. And when you are a people pleaser, you have to really look at deeper issues. What's the core issue that's making you feel like you're obligated to do these things for people? Is it because you're afraid if you don't do them, they're not going to like you and they're going to reject you, or they're going to abandon you? So rejection, abandonment, feeling unworthy, not enough, unlovable, unwanted, like all of these things are core issues that's developed very early in our childhood, and we carry these things with us. So really being able to figure out, if I have a huge need to feel like I need to make everybody happy and please people, you need to do some work in that area of your life and figure out why.
Yeah. Because it's usually deeper than what we really.
Absolutely.
But when we have habits that we have accumulated over the years and we have gotten immune to it, we don't see nothing wrong with it until somebody that sees it, that's either a mental health specialist, a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
someone that's professional, or someone that really loves you and see the issues. You have to take that into consideration and start that change.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
because if you don't, it'll cause so many more problems to your life that really is something that you are creating, but you refuse to stop it.
Mm-hmm. And you have to be able to take control over your life, because if you don't, everybody around you will have control.
Oh yeah, they definitely will. Just narrow everything down. And so I've read that you are a two-time cancer survivor.
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
tell me about your experience and how are you feeling? Even personally, with you being a mental health, you may have had some mental health issues during that time too.
Yeah, so I believe all therapists should have a therapist. I think, like I said, I think everybody can benefit from a therapist. It's not going to hurt you unless you go to one who's not best for you. But going to therapy is not going to hurt you in any way. Um, So yes, I am a two-time cancer survivor of lymphoma. It's a form of like a blood cancer. So
Okay.
I had cancer twice, 2005 and 2008. I went through chemo and radiation. I've had multiple surgeries. Yes, and I am a lupus warrior. So with my diagnosis, um, I found out the first time I had cancer, I was inside of a Macy's store. I didn't know they gave results over the phone, but I found out that day, yes, they give you results over the phone. So everything went pretty, rapidly. It was a painful experience physically. Um, but I got through it. I always say, my smile carried me through. I truly believe that, I am blessed and I was very fortunate because there's a lot of people who went through what I went through who are unfortunately not here today. And
Right.
so I always looked at the brighter side of things. Even if I wasn't feeling my best, I said, you know what? There is someone that can't even walk today. So you know what? I'm just going to appreciate where I am. Um, and I didn't see giving up as an option.
Yeah.
I said, I feel like I'm young enough. I am going to fight. I'm gonna do what I have to do. And that's what I did. And so then the second time, so the first time I had cancer, I didn't have children. I
Okay.
never wanted children. So before my first chemotherapy, they came and they asked me, do you want your eggs frozen? I was like, you can scramble them, fry them, freeze them, burn them, boil them, whatever you want to do with the eggs, you can do it because I don't need them. So,
You ain't want kids that bad?
no,
Oh
I
my
did not.
God.
I said, oh no, I don't need that. Because I always thought that my life would be so busy that I wouldn't have time for them. And I just was not into kids like that. And they always say God has a sense of humor. So once I started my chemotherapy, I'm an only child. I'm sitting there like, the legacy stops with me. Oh my gosh. Like, what if I die? My parents won't have a child anymore. Like, no more on this earth. And so then that kind of like changed my mind about having children. And so it's funny how life changes your perception. It
Mm-hmm.
was a point in time I never wanted kids. And then now I can't imagine my life without my daughter. She'll be
Oh.
14 in about 3 weeks.
Oh.
And I can't imagine my life without her. And then when she was born, that's when I got, she probably was 3 years old when
Mm-hmm.
I got cancer the second time. That experience was different because now I have a husband. Now I have a life that, my own daughter and thinking about my own immortality. And it, the experience was different the
Yeah.
second time.
Yeah. So how did you feel at that moment when you first received the news the second time?
Well, the first time, the type of cancer I had is normally found in Caucasian males. I'm not
Really?
Caucasian, and I'm definitely not a male. So I went misdiagnosed for an entire year. So I think I was still in shock. And I never thought that I was going to, like death. I did not allow thoughts of death to enter my mind. When they would, I would be like, oh no, Satan. Mm-mm. Oh no.
Right.
I am speaking life over myself. I am not even going to allow myself to go down that rabbit hole.
Yes.
Um, but in 2018, from the lupus, I think I've had more fear of dying from lupus than I did with cancer.
Wow.
So I was in the hospital for almost 20 days. Um, and I had lost the ability to speak. I lost the ability to swallow. It was very, very scary. And so, like with lupus, it just comes out of nowhere. Like I have trouble breathing. I can't really walk long distances. And so my lupus is more debilitating than my cancer was. Cancer
Oh,
was painful and everything like that, but this is chronic. Like this is continuous, and you can have a flare at any moment. So I would say that lupus is more scarier for me
yeah.
than going through my cancer journey.
And I understand that. That's like what I was telling you before we started the live with my sister, with her having lupus. It's like some days she upbeat, some days she don't want to do absolutely nothing.
Correct. Correct.
One thing I can say, every day she find herself to have strength to be able to get up and go to work and everything. And it just amazes me to see her strength.
Hmm.
Sometimes she get like these blemishes on
Oh
her
yeah.
face a lot, and she had to keep it like Vaseline or some
Hmm.
type of ointment on it. But it's just sometimes it takes a toll on her, and she just be dead tired.
Right. I remember days when my mom would be like, "Why are you just in bed?" Like I could just stay in bed all day. Stay in
Wow.
bed all day, you know. And I had to learn balance to be able to listen to my body. That has been the biggest struggle for me because I'm like, go, 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 go. When I
Right.
was getting radiation, I would go to work on my lunch break, go get radiation, then go back to work. Like I never took time off during my cancer journey. I was just go on go all the time. But that's also not healthy. I think it was a way that I coped with it. However, I never gave myself time to actually sit in my emotion. And I think everyone, no matter what you're going through, you need time to sit in it to really figure out how you feel about this situation. Not throw it away, not stuff it, not put it on the shelf, but you have to be able to feel the emotion so that you can make sure you fully are able to heal from that experience. I never gave myself the opportunity to do that.
Man. So what was one of your biggest self-discovery or reevaluation after you were diagnosed?
That I'm not as in control of my life as maybe I thought
Mm,
because I had my life all planned out.
yeah.
This how it's gonna go. I'm doing this. It don't matter. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna get it.
Yep, it is
Oh, I
what
got.
it is.
This is so inconvenient. God, like, why are you giving me this now? Why you didn't wait in 5 years? Like,
Mm,
right now? Like,
yep.
I get married in 2 months. Right now, you
Wow.
telling me I have kids, I gotta go through this, you know. And so I think the way I thought of it, like this is inconvenience for my life. But the thing again is, we have to be able to see that there's a power greater than us
Yeah.
that we have no control over. So no matter how you plan your life, how you want it to go, guess what? It might not go the way you plan. And being able to be flexible to bend with life as it comes. When we are inflexible, that's when we break.
Yeah, and that's the part when we get stuck in our ways and be real stubborn and don't want to be flexible and just want to go step by step like
Yep.
that and don't even know we could go all this way.
All the different ways.
Yep.
But that was the biggest thing that was for me to be like, all right, I might as well. I mean, yes, I know what I want to do, but I need to give some flexibility in my plan because life might happen and life happens
Ooh,
all the time.
yes, it does.
Remember, life happens. Like that is the shortest, most simplest phrase, but it's very powerful. It has a lot of meaning behind it.
It
Life
does.
happens.
Yeah, it does. And it could be a painful experience. Even when our life's going great and then something happened like that, just boom. But it's really how you get through it and
Right.
how you act during that time. It's like we have to pace ourselves and relax and try to understand our relationship with God and our communication skills with him, because he will tell us, he will direct us, he will check you in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yes.
and that's the greatest thing about having a relationship with God, because it soothes you into the direction you need to go into.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
really do, so you won't make yourself feel so overwhelmed at the same
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Yes, read that Psalms 91.
Gotta stay connected. You gotta stay connected to the source.
Yes. What was the most difficult part of your journey and how did you overcome it?
The most difficult part of my journey, I guess, which journey? The cancer journey, the lupus journey, the life journey.
I want to say basically the between the cancer and the lupus, like really both, because not only you are you got through cancer, but you still battle lupus
Yeah.
because it's everywhere.
When I was having trouble swallowing, I had this overwhelming sense that I was going to die in my sleep, that
Wow.
I was going to choke on my saliva and I was going to die in my sleep. Like when I was in the hospital, I had a suction thing, like what they do at the dentist when you get all the,
Yeah.
because like it was so bad and so horrible. And then after that, they could not regulate my heart. So I had to go back into the hospital. And so that was scary. That was scary. And even now, like I get these coughing fits and I feel like I'm gasping for air. And I mean, the difference, like I said earlier, now with this is so unpredictable. Kind of with cancer, you're going to get your chemo, you get your blood work. It's consistent.
Right.
You got to wait till you get this test and everything like that. It's not going to be like an onset, oh, they died. It'll be a slow decline. With this, it's like I was great 10
Right.
minutes ago. Now I feel like I can't even walk, like,
Yeah.
and breathe. So I guess the joint part of it is not as scary as my breathing, heart, lung part of it.
Okay.
So
Wow.
that's the biggest challenge even now for me. Like I was telling you, I was just in the emergency room a week ago, right now at this time.
Wow. That's I know that's just even just enduring that all the time, and then you're helping people too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you really have to find that balance, but you're finding it.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
definitely finding it.
And you know what? The balance is when I go into my therapy sessions with my patients, the session is not about me, it's about them. My patients would never, ever, 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 never know that, dang, you were just in the hospital. You going to the hospital after this session? Or, something is happening, because I never want them to be like, well, I can't tell my therapist this. They might have a stroke. Like I don't ever want them to carry that, because it is really just about them and what they have going on. So it's
Wow.
balanced, but it's learned. I mean, it didn't happen for me overnight. I didn't just graduate, get my license, and I'm this balanced therapist. No, it took trial and error. It took time.
Wow. It takes a lot of time. It definitely
Yes.
do. What advice would you give someone on how to support a loved one when they're battling mental health issues?
Be patient. And what your loved one might be experiencing might not look like somebody else who has depression. So you can't compare them with somebody else and be like, oh, well, she got over hers. Okay,
Yeah.
good for her. That's not my story. So being patient, also become educated. Don't just say, well, such and such told me that it looks like this or it should be like this. No, get educated for yourself so that you are able to support your loved one who's the one actually going through it. Yes,
Right.
you are affected because that is your loved one, but they're the ones who's living through it.
Yeah. On a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Yes. I have a cousin. He has mental health issues. Someone has put something in his drink.
Oh, laced it. Uh-huh.
Yeah, they laced it and he hasn't been right since. So it was rough in the beginning, just being in his company and stuff. Some days he used to flip out. Some
Yeah.
days he'd be in the middle of the street just going off on people driving by and everything. And it was rough. And there
Mm-hmm.
would even be times when he wouldn't even want to take a shower.
Oh, yeah.
He'll wear the same clothes every day. And and regardless of what I love about the support of my family, we still buy him clothes, we still buy him shoes and everything. He have so much new stuff, but some days he doesn't touch it. He want to leave on the dirty stuff that he has on.
Absolutely.
But it's like it's still having that support and love, and
Mm-hmm.
still going to see him and still communicating with him, just still doing the proper things so that he could still feel loved. But
Right.
I can't say he calmed down a lot.
That's good. That's
A
good. Is he
whole
getting therapeutic services? Does he?
He does quite often.
Okay.
Yeah, he does quite often. He really do. Yeah.
Good. Good.
Yeah, but it's rough, and you do have to have patience, and it can be even stressful on us ourselves
Hmm.
as a family member just trying to help,
Or watching it, someone who you knew, and it seems like it's so different. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn this new you or this new part of you, and it can be difficult and it can be even sad to
Yes,
see your loved one have to go through that.
it is because he was going to the Olympics, and he had
Hmm.
plans to go to the NFL as well. And right when he graduated high school, and I say about 2 years later, it happened, and he like 45 now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
45. So it's like it's different. It took a toll on a lot of males in my family because
Okay.
it's mainly males, and it's only three of us girls. So
Oh, wow.
so it took a toll on the boys in the family more because they all looked up to him because all the
Mm.
things he was doing in his life. So it took a lot. It took a lot. Especially,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was rough. So I encourage everybody that's listening right now to even continue to love on them and continue to support them, and even still do things with,
Yes. Yes.
if because you can still give them a different outlook on life, even though sometimes their mind don't be there. You could create it to be there, and if
Mm-hmm.
you're consistent with it, they start to get used to it, and they won't act out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's rough.
I
So what advice could you give anyone that is watching right now about mental health and even being in this pandemic right now?
So the advice that I would say, like I said earlier, self-care. Self-care. Think about you. Think about your needs. What is it that I need in this moment? Do I need a timeout? Do I need a day off? Do I need to walk, take a walk in the park? Do I need to listen to music? Do I need, anything that helps you decompress, anything that helps you to escape that's not going to cause harm to you or anybody else. Also looking at, you don't have to adhere to what some people are saying or what societal standards are saying that you need to do during this pandemic. So many people are saying, oh, you need to have 8 businesses and do this and do
Yeah,
that because you got all this free time. If I am just able to navigate and come out of this with my right mind, I've done enough. And so knowing that you don't have to put that unnecessary stress on you trying to keep up with what they say you should be doing. No, what does your body and your mind and your heart and your soul say you are comfortable with doing? If
hmm,
that's just surviving, then baby, that's what it is.
yeah, and that's exactly what it's gonna be too.
That's it. That's it. I don't have to come out with 8 businesses. That's okay. I'm still gonna be working for my job because I don't want to do that. Why would I add more stress to myself if I'm already stressed trying to figure out
Right.
how to finance this new business?
Hmm. That is
I'm
true.
already having financial problems. Why
Yep.
would I do that?
Yep. You would basically be putting yourself in more debt than you were before. And,
Right.
having multiple streams of income is fine, but you got to make sure that one is doing good, and then you
Yes.
go to the other one because a lot of people stress that a lot. So I know what you're
Right.
saying on that.
And can't support it. It's
Yes.
not that easy. I do, like I said, I'm an author, I'm a life coach. I also have individuals that work under my license, a licensed mental health counselor. So they're all in the same arena and all under kind of the umbrella. The funnels are different, but it's
Yes.
like all helping.
Yes.
I'm not into, okay, I got my hairstylist, I'm an insurance broker over here, I'm selling waist trainers here, I'm selling teasers. Like, I think you have to, one, and I'm
Yes.
not knocking anyone who does that. I think it's great if you have the ability to hustle and get it like that and you got the energy to do it, awesome.
Yes.
But if you're still trying to just keep your head above water emotionally, why would you add the additional stress to you? That does not, somebody can have 100 businesses and somebody can have one business. You cannot compare them and say one is more of a hustler or a go-getter than the other one.
No,
No, you can't
they
say that.
all have to meet somewhere somehow at that
Right.
point. I could see if it was like an umbrella and everything relate to the same thing, but if it's like all over the place, it won't coexist all the way together.
Right, right.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation. You done dropped
Yes.
gems and everything. One thing I do want you to do is let people know about your first book that you do have, because I know you
Okay.
have a second one coming out, but make
Yes.
them aware of your first one.
I think I have it right here. Yes. The Wow Effect.
Nah,
You can get it on Amazon, barnesandnobles.com, target.com, walmart.com, booksamillion.com, and on my website. But the easiest way, everybody has Amazon, so just go to Amazon and get it. It's The Wow Effect, a step-by-step guide to discovering the winner in you. WOW stands for winning over whining. The Wow Effect. And so that was a labor of love, and it just really helps you to take off the mask and uncover who you are, so the real winner in you can stand up. And then my next book coming out is called Girlfriend Heal, because I am the girlfriend therapist and I want to encourage and inspire everyone to be able to find their healing. This book is specifically created for Black women who are healing. And so
good.
that is what this next book is about. I also have a conference coming up next year called the Girlfriend Heal Conference, the Unapologetic Proclamation to Wow. And so that is with me and one of my very good friends, Dr. Pamela Gurley, that we are doing a collaborative conference. And I also have Girlfriend Heal workshops. And so those are like 6-week intensive workshops where what I do is I basically is almost like a group therapy session, loosely group therapy, where a group
Yeah.
of women come together, they pay for the 6 weeks, and we walk through what does that girlfriend healing look like. And so, yeah, you can find me on all of my social media handles are the Girlfriend Therapist. So you can find me at the Girlfriend Therapist on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also find me, I'm sure if you type in the Girlfriend Therapist on LinkedIn, it'll come up as well. And on YouTube. I don't really post too much on YouTube though. So yeah, the Girlfriend Therapist, you can find me everywhere.
Yes. Well, I really enjoyed you. And one more thing I want you to do is
Yes.
say something encouraging for women that are watching right now.
So, for every woman who is watching right now, I just want you to know that you are awesome. You are amazing. You are needed. You are wanted. Your story has value. You have value. And even when you don't feel like it, even on those days when it seems like there's a dark cloud over you, know that guess what? A rainbow comes after the rain. So, in order for us to be able to see the reflection in the lights and in the clouds and in the sky, we have to have a little bit of rain. So be able to go through that rain, have your umbrella. Your umbrella are the people who you can talk to help protect you. But also don't be afraid of getting wet, because when we get wet by the raindrops, those are like life teachers. Those are our trials and our tribulations that help us for our next season. So don't be afraid to get a little wet in the rain, because you know that the rainbow is coming.
Yes. And that season of rain is very, very powerful once you discover what is for you in the end of it.
Yes, yes.
When you start the
Yes,
sun will start to shine.
yes, yes.
Well, thank you so much, Cortina. I really enjoyed this conversation. It
Thank
was
you.
so needed, and I'm definitely going to have you back for sure.
I would be glad to come back. You just let me know when and where, and I am there.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.